Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to change the world one starfish or one person at a time. As always, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, all the things. That's how we get the word out. I'm excited for our guest today. This is the first time I met Jonathon. He's in the manufacturing industry, but kind of interesting. We'll get into this. 5 years ago, he was actually a mechanic for 15 years for Rolls-Royce. I think that's so cool. And Bentley's. And then he had an opportunity come up actually in the coffee industry. And then another opportunity come up in the manufacturing industry, which is what he's doing now. 5 years ago, they basically had nothing. And now they built this up. Last year, they were $15 million in sales and growing at a rate of 40% every year with 2 young kids and a wife that works in the office beside him. So this is so cool. Welcome to the show, Jonathon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Well, let's dig into it. Let's go back. So you first of all became a mechanic. And then what had you prompt you into the coffee business and then the manufacturing? Did you grow up around entrepreneurs, or why did this opportunity, one of the things that I think is really interesting is, and we kind of touched on this before, opportunities come in our life to everybody, I believe, and some people see them and some people don't. So what do you think caused you to see the opportunity and take a giant leap of faith, and belief in yourself to be able to do some of those massive changes?
Yeah, one of them, the belief came from my wife. Okay. When I was a mechanic for Bentley and Roll-Royce, I never settled. I wanted to be the best in the game, the best there was. I went to the Bentley and Roll-Royce factory to study with the engineers there. I got master certified, and it took me 10 years to get my master certification for Bentley and Roll-Royce. So I just grinded every day, tried to be the best at what I could be. I knew when I was getting into mechanics, I didn't just want to work for any car company. I wanted to work for one of the best elite companies in the world. And I got there, and I'll never forget when I was in the factory and I finally passed my final test, which is an all-day test in front of 6 engineers. They bug the cars. They do a customer service interaction because Bentley and Rolls, the mechanics are really dealing with the customers. It's different than other mechanics. And I passed it, and then I got back to my room, and I'm like, well, shit, now what? Like, I did it. Like, everything I was looking to achieve.
10 years. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what's next? And it's funny how the world and the universe and depending on what you believe, God throws in your way. And I moved to Florida to redo a dealership down there. And it wasn't going as planned. And when I was in the factory, how the coffee started, I'll never forget, to this day, a little English lady comes out with a coffee cart, and a bell rings in this massive factory, and all the people in the factory come to the center aisle in the back Bentley factory and have a cup of tea or coffee. This is happening today in the factory. And I just loved it. You get to deal with people, you're putting your tools down, and how are the kids, you're interacting, and it was more personal. And I think here in the States, we don't get that. It's grind, grind, grind. It's I don't have time to stop and have a conversation. We got work to do. Let's go get it. So that's where I fell in love with coffee and wanted to bring that vibe to the States. And I started a coffee company around exotic cars and coffee. Just that's where my connection was with exotic cars. When I started that, I lost insurance. I gave up everything. I sold my house, my cars. We moved to Indiana from Naples, Florida, to a farm, 100-year-old farm.
Oh my gosh.
My kids, we were sharing a bedroom. It was crazy. My wife.
Okay, you gotta go into this more. Like, what?
Yeah.
What did you see, and what does your wife see to let you, quote unquote? I know it's not let you, but even encourage you, I'm guessing, to take. That's crazy. Tell me more.
My wife always saw it in me. I'm going to be honest. I was not raised in an entrepreneur family. I was raised by just my mom. She did what she had to do to survive. So she was a protector. She was things are good. Don't stir the pot. Don't rock the boat. You got insurance. You're making good money. You work for a great company. People love you. You're known all over for Bentley and Roll. Why would you mess
Florida?
That up?
It's beautiful.
Why would you mess that up? And I always wanted more. I always want more. And more importantly, I just love people. I love pouring into people. I love giving somebody a chance, and I love educating people. And my wife always told me, you're going to get one chance. You're going to get one chance to do something. I know you're doing something great already, but you got to do something on your own. You have more to give. And she was always pushing me to want to do something. Even a lot of my Bentley and Rolls customers asked me to quit and become either partners with them or buy property with them or all that. They were always trying to get me in the thing. I just love people and I love listening and learning. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You're learning, right? Mm-hmm. So she pushed me very hard. She said, she calls me Jay. She says, Jay, let's do it. Like, what do we got to lose? Like, we've had nothing.
Just everything.
Yeah, but that's all material things.
I love it.
That's all material things. And all of those things, you can literally work to get all of those things back. I was driving a 99 Dodge Dakota for such a long time because
one of those. They're good.
I was driving a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley, whatever car was that. I was driving them all day, every day. My daily was a 99 Dodge Dakota. I didn't need. So as quick as we can make stuff, we can lose it. But if you don't give up, you can make it right back. So she is honestly the one that pushed me very, very hard to give up everything and move to Indiana in the middle of a cornfield.
Indiana, oh my gosh, from Florida. That's just crazy. So you moved to Indiana, you sold everything, and up you go. And then tell us kind of what happened with the coffee and then into manufacturing. How did that transition?
Yeah, so actually my wife's grandfather had a half of this business that he started 40 years ago in a barn. He was like, we called him the godfather of reflective insulation. He was a very old school guy. No family worked for him. He didn't want that dynamic. So nobody in the family had stepped foot. My wife's family is very small. She was adopted by her grandfather. So that's who was, so it's really like her grandfather when she was like 11 months old or something. Wow. So when we were running the coffee company, he said, Jonathan, one of my competitors just went up. We want to buy his inventory and get his customer list, but you're going to be separate from me. I'm not giving you money. I'm not doing anything, but I will be your mentor and I'll help you out. If you have questions, yada, yada. So I flew to, the company was in Texas. I flew to Texas. It was the bank owned the assets, whatever, something happened to this company. He says, really, we just want the inventory of the customer list. Okay, fine. So I went to, it was a Wednesday. I flew there on a Wednesday. I had till Friday to write a check. Well, we just sold our house and moved back to Indiana. So I had money in the bank. I wrote him a check Friday. I found a 10,000 square foot warehouse on Sunday. A realtor met me on Sunday at a building here in Indiana. On Tuesday, the truck showed up with the machines and the material. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't even know how to plug the machine in. I mean, that's a reality, right? So I found one of the employees that got let go because the company went under. From Texas, I moved her. I didn't move her here. I put her in a hotel. I said, "You got to show me how to do this." I mean, I just bought literally the shit just all showed up. I don't even. And I have orders. I mean, they have POs that are a year old. I mean, millions of dollars POs that we were trying to fill. It was a disaster. And then nobody wanted to do business with me because they thought I was the old company, right? That was already messed up. So, and that's how I got my foot in the door in manufacturing. We started killing it. I hired 3 people to help me. I talked the girl that came here from Texas that helped me how to plug it in. She was a very young girl, extremely knowledgeable, and I know she had passion to do something in life. I talked her into, I fed her the dream and she took it. She took the bait. So she moved here. She is still my plant manager. 5 years later, she is my entire plant manager, and she's killing it. So I'm very grateful for that. Once we started going, her grandfather saw how we were running things. We just started killing it. We filled orders, all this. He asked me if I could step foot and look at his stuff. I said, his name was Bob. He was a wonderful man. He said, Jonathan, you want to come look at us? And something's not right. I said, Bob, you told me to stay out. You told me to.
You said.
I said, you told me no, very clearly. So anyways, I did. I go over there and I told him what I saw. He didn't like it. He said, get out. Then he came back to me and was like, I appreciate it. Would you want to be general manager? And I'm like, look, I didn't quit and give up everything to be general manager of an insulation business. I just didn't. Like, no offense to you. What you have is great. If I have option to buy, that's a different story. And he said, I would, honestly, he was dumbfounded. He didn't have a plan for the business. He was looking at selling all this stuff. I said, I would love to take it over and keep the family legacy going. Let's do it. So I was with Bob. I had a little card table in the corner of his office. He had this like executive mahogany desk in the middle. And I was like literally in the corner on a hard table. And I just listened every phone call, how he interacted with people, his knowledge, literally just writing stuff down as much as I could. And I had 3 months with him, and out of the blue, he passed away.
Wow.
So my mentor that was supposed to be teaching me everything literally was just gone like that. It was hard for the family. It was hard on me. It still is hard for me, to be honest, even though it was 5 years ago. And I told my wife, I said, there's only one.
He just knew that everything was taken care of.
Yeah, it was. You know what? The business, when somebody passes like that, you don't know the true story of the business, the numbers and this and that. And the business was hurting. So my wife and I say, you know what? We could either sell it. It wasn't worth anything, to be honest. We could let somebody else try to take it over. I said, or we could hit the ground running. And that's what we did. My wife was a personal trainer. She actually worked for First Form since like the beginning. Okay. She like knew them since almost day one that First Form started. So that's how the connection with Arte and stuff was. But I said, I need you. Like, you got to stop your personal training. She had her own branding. I said, I don't know. I need you here, because trust is a big deal when I didn't know who to trust. You discover vendors are taking advantage of you, relationships that you thought were positive were negative. We had to vet everybody. Mm-hmm. We had to keep the honest people honest. I think that's very important. You keep the honest people honest, and honest people that are doing business the right way. They don't care about those questions. They have nothing to hide. They will show you everything, and they're going to serve you, right? They're going to solve your problem. It's the people that start questioning you. Well, why are you asking me that? Why is that? There's some underlying tone there. There's a reason they don't want to answer those questions, right? Mm-hmm. So we kept the honest people honest, and I am very grateful and happy to say that we're killing it. I'm grateful for my team. We have grown over the years. We just moved into this new facility about a year ago, and we're just grateful to be here and keep killing it,
What are some amazing story? So one of the things I want people to, I don't know if they caught it or not, but the sitting in the board, in the table and taking notes, I do a lot of coaching and mentoring, and I find a lot of people, it's quite intriguing. Actually, I find it interesting. They don't sit around. They don't spend their time with the people that they could be spending their time with to learn. Like, man, if I have an opportunity to be around someone like Ed or Andy or you, or like someone that's successful, more successful than I am, or even it doesn't even matter, just someone that's different, I just want to be there. If I can be in the room or be in the environment, I just learn like osmosis. I swear it comes that way. So, I think that's one huge thing that you did, obviously, to become successful. But what are some other things that you did that helped you go from like a company that was in the red and not doing well to a company that's, well in the black in 5 years? What are some tips and tangible things that you implemented and did that you feel people could, learn from?
I think the number one thing was integrity. Like, I do business the right way, and I do business with people that I decide to do business with. I have turned down millions of dollars because I do not align with other businesses. I literally will turn down business if I don't align with that company. I think the learning and listening is a big deal. So many people want to speak. They already have in their head how they want to react to somebody without truly listening and then forming an opinion. They already have their opinion formulated. They already have their answer formulated before they're even trying to listen to the person in front of them. And not only that, you can learn from, like you said, everybody, not just people that are above me or below me, or however you want to see that. Mm-hmm. Literally everybody has something to give. And reading people is amazing. If you can read people and get on their level. I have no problem talking to people at the highest level. I have no problem speaking to students that just come in. I'm very passionate about students. We started a program here at the plant. We work with the high schools and stuff. So we hire kids with special needs sometimes to help us. And It's amazing the camaraderie, the love that it brings into the business for people. So the biggest change for my company here, this company that made it successful, in my opinion, was culture. It was a toxic culture when I came here. And changing the side of manufacturing that people know as manufacturing. If you look behind me, it is bright, it is clean. I make them scrub the floors. I bought floor scrubbers. I didn't want it to be this dingy manufacturing warehouse where people are hating their jobs and coming into it. I literally tell everybody on my team, the day you stop wanting to come in to work, we need to have a conversation. Whether it's a new position, it's you. I get you out of the back and you're up in the front office answering the phones. Whatever you want to learn, I want to give you that opportunity. So culture was very big. It was very toxic when I came here. The left wasn't talking to the right, and nobody talked in the middle. So culture was very, very big.
So when you speak of culture, did you have to lay off people in order to build a healthy culture?
That was very hard for me. Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes. I had to fire a lot of people.
So tell us about that, because that is a really hard thing, I think, for a lot of people, is that whole like, well, I don't want to like do that. Like that's hard.
Yeah. And it's even hard too when I came in, who the hell am I? I mean, who's this young guy? He doesn't know anything about reflective insulation. I've been doing this 15 years. I mean, all the excuses, all the things, right? And you have to earn their trust, right? It's not given. It's not I walk in the door and Bob made me general manager and he's going to take over the company. You have to trust him. That's not the way trust works. You have to earn respect and earn trust. I think I was out there unloading trucks. I was on the machines. I was welding. Obviously, I'm mechanical. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. They know that I have their back. I am not up in this office. I like to be on the floor, actually, more than I like to be in meetings. So that's the way it is. The firing was very hard for me to learn that and to learn, they say fire fast and hire slow. That's a saying. I was doing the complete opposite. I shot myself in the foot a lot, and that's the thing. You don't know until you go through it. The amount of headaches and sleepless nights and tears that my wife and I shared together, because unfortunately we did have some employees either leave themselves because they didn't believe in the new mission, they didn't believe in me, whatever the case may be. Some left themselves, some we had to let go, and vice versa. It was very hard because we took over a family business that had ties, that they were coming around the house. They were, when you're in a family business, everybody is so close. So it was very, very hard. But it was also amazing to see on the other side. The next day we got rid of those toxic people, or those toxic people left. Literally the attitudes changed in the offices. People were starting to come out and talk to each other. Their office doors weren't closed the entire time. Now their office doors were open, right? Like if you walk down an office, if we have a hallway with offices on both sides. If you walk down those and the doors are always closed and nobody's ever conversing, I would question that. There's a difference between having the door closed because you're having an office, but if they're 90% closed all the time, I would want to know what the deal is. Are they communicating, and what's the vibe in the office? So I am still not good at firing. I'm not. I play a hard ball. I play tough guy most of the time, but I'm a sucker for people. I try so hard to get them to see value and opportunity in life, and I know I can give it to them here. So when they start falling down the wrong path, or not aligning with our goals, or not aligning with our core values, or whatever, I try very hard to give them the benefit of the doubt. And usually it shoots me in the foot because I try too hard and it hits me. But, it's those success stories that keep you going. I have some great employees that really came out on the other side that are my success stories that I love.
And what do you think is the difference between the successful stories and the ones that you kept around too long? What have you figured out? What it is that separates the one that does make it and is able to change and adjust, and the ones that don't? Have you got that one figured out at all?
Oh man, that is a hard question. I wish I had a definitive answer on that.
Me too.
I think it goes beyond my walls. Here, I can give them a safe place to work. I pour into my people. Every Tuesday, I have a meeting. No matter what, all my team is on. If you're not in the office, you're on Teams. And I give them a life lesson, from money to happiness to creating whatever, a sales. It doesn't matter. I pour into them. And I notice the people that do leave or do not see the vision, or that they have a greater influence outside my walls that overtake my influence. Whether it's the neighborhood they live in. Living in Northwest Indiana, I get a lot of employees from really underprivileged areas where they live, and they come from pretty rough areas sometimes, and I can tell that takes over their mindset, their life. So I can do so much here. Unfortunately, I can't follow them home and continue to pour into them. So, the people that really truly listen, that drink the water of the self-help. I mean, we have a little library here of books. It's funny that I'm like, go pick up a book, right? Well, no, they're scrolling Instagram, Facebook. The ones that are picking up a book and starting to read, those are the ones that are staying. They want to do better. It's the people that go home and get stuck in the rat race that don't. So I think the influence outside of and what you're putting in front of your face every day is a massive, massive influence, whether it works or not.
So what would you give someone for a tip on, you're talking about reading into the personal development thing. So as far as you go, how do you feel that that's gone through your life and helped you to get to where you're at right now? When did you start into personal development? Tell us a little bit about how that implemented into everything else.
Yeah, I've always been an outdoor person. I love the outside. That's my zen. So whether I'm hiking or water, I love water. Even though I moved to Indiana, I always said I will buy my beach house very soon. However, that was I always found a way to find zen and peace that way. But the actual self-development by learning by other people, again, I know I keep preaching my wife here, but she is my saint. She pushed me to join Arate. She literally signed me up. I'm not that person. I'm in the back usually. I love to listen. That's what it comes down to. It's not that I was not wanting to meet people or not putting myself out there. That I'm a listener, and then I take action. I am very good at implementation. I'm very good at making stuff execute and finding a solution. And I don't need to be at the front row, hoorahing and clapping and fist pumping and chest, all that stuff. That's just not my style. But she pushed me out of my comfort zone, and that's what it comes down to. And those are the type of people you need to surround yourself with, getting you out of your comfort zone. That's when real success happens, I believe. So she pushed me to join Arte, and then she has always done personal development, always. So since working in First Form, and she drank the Andy juice way back when with MFCEO project. And that's when I would always hear it in the background. I would always listen to her. She'd always share her story. I didn't have to watch anything because she just told me everything. You know what I mean? I didn't have to listen because she just shared everything that she was learning. So it really came down to her joining Arte. And then, I've been in Arte. I just got those coins. I think it was 3 years. Yeah, right on the cusp of 3-4 years. It's been good. I've met some amazing people in Arte. And you know that. I mean, I don't have to tell you anything about that. So it is the people that make a difference. I have some truly good friends, personal friends that there's a group of us that literally would hop on a plane tomorrow if any of us were in need. So it's pretty amazing. But she's the one that made me push me for that.
How did you meet your wife? Tell me about that story.
Oh my God. We met in 7th grade. We went to a middle school dance together. And then in high school, she went to a private school. I went to a public school. We went to each other's dances in high school. And then in college, we kind of did our own thing. I went to Arizona for the Audi and Bentley. And then I went to the UK a little bit. And then she was at Purdue University. And after I graduated from Arizona, the Audi Academy, because Bentley's owned by Volkswagen Audi. So I was at an Audi school out in Arizona. It was like a private Audi engineering school. When I was out there, I came home after I graduated. And she literally randomly stopped by my house because, she was just a childhood friend and she was home from college. And so I said, we should go to dinner. And that was it. That was literally it. And I said, look, she was in a college state. I'll say that. I don't want to embarrass her too much, but she was partying a little too hard, not getting the best grades. And I said, look, like, I'm a go-getter. Like, I will be successful. I will not live paycheck to paycheck like my mother. Like, that was the one thing I always told myself. My mom worked her ass off. Don't get me wrong, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle. It was a struggle for her. And I said, I will not do that. I don't want my kids to see it to be a struggle. So I told her, I said, you need to get your shit together. You need to quit drinking. I've never had a beer in my life. I said, you need to quit drinking. You're going to move in with me. I'm going to go work for Bentley. You're going to go to school. You're going to finish your last year. You're going to get good grades, and we're going to kill it in this life. And that's exactly what we did. She transferred schools. We got a little shitty apartment together that was like between Bentley and her college, and we lived in the middle. It was like a 3-hour drive some nights for me with Chicago traffic, a 3-hour drive for her. But it was 1 year. And we said 1 year of sacrifice, finish your degree, and I'll start my journey with Bentley and Rolls. And then we just kept advancing in our careers together.
So when you met, you were kind of the put together person, and then she kind of became the put together person to help you.
It switched a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's really cool. I love that.
Now she keeps me. Yeah, now she keeps me on my toes. We are a fantastic couple for each other. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. We all have our days. We've all made mistakes. I've done things I'm not proud of. We have had our moments. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I choose her. She chooses me, and we make it work. And we complement each other where we're weak. She's strong where I'm weak, and we pull each other in the right direction to just keep trucking along. I mean, that's what it comes to. It's just tomorrow's another day.
That's so cool. And, it sounds like, and I mean, a lot of our stuff, and we'll wrap up soon, a lot of our stuff comes from our childhood. And I just think your childhood reminds me of mine slightly in the fact that we were broke. And, you made a decision to never be broke, that you never wanted to deal with that. And I believe I made a decision at that point at 7 too. I don't remember, but there was a moment. So, and, from that, so it's our hardships that make us who we are. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. For the longest time as a kid, you don't know that, right? You don't know what you're going through. And
even as an adult, like, you don't really necessarily understand, where does success come from, quote unquote success, whatever that means. Where does that come from? And you look back at your childhood and you're like, man, it was the struggles. It was the hard times that actually became the good.
Yeah. Yeah. And growing up, I was sour about those times. I was angry about those times, some of those childhood memories that I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. And I was angry about it. And now becoming an adult that I believe I am successful. I love my kids. I love my wife. We're building the dream, right? That's success to me, is my family. So to have that and now look back at it, it's like, well, that's why I am the way I am. Is from those hardships, like you said. Now learning to appreciate those hardships for what the lessons they were that they gave.
And even the ones now. So if anyone's listening, I just, if you're going through something right now and you're going through challenges right now, remember that the hardships are the things that make us stronger if we choose to work with them, if we choose to move forward with them and become a better version of ourselves because of them, and don't choose to wallow in self-pity or, oh my gosh, life is hard and all that kind of stuff, but choosing to be like, man, this is a hardship. Like, we started this company, we did all this stuff, and you use that too, just to fuel your fire to continue forward. And wasn't like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I should have gone back to Rolls-Royce. Like,
yeah. Not that those doubts don't creep in, but you just gotta have that little edge to put that right foot in front of the other one and move forward.
And really quick, and then we'll wrap up. What do you feel that edge is? What do you feel got you through? I mean, your wife 100%, but between the two of you, what got you through those days that I know there was days you're like, this is stupid, we should quit. What are we doing? Moving to Indiana, right, for the coffee company. What got you through those days? What are some like tangible hacks, quote unquote, that people could use on those days when they want to quit?
Uh, Vision of the future. Actually seeing it. I literally would visualize myself. I worked on Bentley and Rolls for a long time. I envisioned myself driving one myself, like owning it, not being the guy working on it, not being the car hiker, not being like, this is my car. Visioning my house, visioning my kids going to whatever school I wanted them to go to, visioning my kids with new shoes on their feet. I mean, simple things like that. The visualization is huge for me. That is what, okay, keep grinding. And then also, like, my kids are very involved. My son is my right-hand man on the farm. We have machinery. He does it all with me. So he's like my little buddy. So knowing that he's always watching too, if he sees me give up and revert back, I know that he's watching, because I didn't have a role model as a kid. I didn't have someone pushing me to be better. I didn't have that pushing me to be uncomfortable, go get educated, go get this. I didn't have any of that. So every time he wakes up, I give my kids a hug and a kiss every morning, every time they go to sleep. That is my why, if that makes sense. But totally vision is huge, because if you lose sight of that, it's very easy to go backwards. Very easy. A lot of people say, don't look in the rear view mirror. Look, you only look out the rear view mirror in your car how many times compared to looking out the front. If you're always moving forward, you always need to have something in front of you.
Love that. Have a vision. All right, let's wrap up with 3 final questions, and then anything we want to leave the listeners that we didn't touch on, because I know we could go forever. But let's wrap up with 3 final questions. So first one, it sounds like you found your purpose, interestingly enough. If there was someone that was looking for their purpose, what's one sentence that you would say that could help them find it?
You will find it when things are quiet. Like a lot of people, Ed says this all the time. Oh, one sentence. You will usually find your purpose when it's quiet. I'll leave it at that.
I love it. That's all good. Now, I'm sure you have more than one, but what's one quote that's your favorite quote and why?
Oh, man. Okay, there's a Canadian show called Letterkenny.
Okay.
Do you know this? Do you know
No,
this
I
show?
don't.
Oh, God. I'm letting out my stupid humor. This show is really dumb and inappropriate. But they always say in this show, figure it out. Like, that is their quote. I have it. I made T-shirts for my company that say figure it out. Because it is very easy to see something that is incorrect and be like, well, I'm not sure. That doesn't vibe with me. If you're not sure, figure it out. With Google today, there's no reason anybody can't do anything. There's no reason. Books, Google, people, you can figure it out. So figure it out is I say that to everybody here.
I love it. Well, yeah, you got a shirt with it. That's definitely a favorite quote there. And what one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
Oh, my gravestone. Oh my gosh. Great Papa. That's what I would want. I want my kids to think I'm great. That's a big deal to me. I'm pretty hard on myself when it comes to my kids. I didn't have an example as a kid, so like I am very hard on myself when it comes to being a father. So I want to be a father to my kids. So Great Papa on my tombstone, that would be awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. So like I said, you run up to someone comes up to you at a coffee shop and says, hey, Jonathon, I heard the podcast. It was awesome. What's something we didn't touch on that you just think would be really good to leave our listeners with?
Oh, man. I think today, get personal with people. I think the personalization side of things, the one-on-ones like we're doing here, face-to-face. I can't wait to talk to you face-to-face if you're going to the live event.
I will be there. Yes, sir.
So great. I can't wait to see you. But with today and now the advancement of AI and everything, everybody's in their phones and all that, I think the personal side of things is really going to set people apart, let alone it's going to make you learn who you are inside, and you might find your why. You might find your purpose more if you get more in tune with yourself and not external influences. Yeah.
That's good. I love that. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share this. We'll have all of Jonathon's information in the show notes. So reach out if you have any questions. I know we'd be happy to help. You can tell that already, I'm sure, by the interview today. So thank you so much for your time. Let's go out there. Let's change the world one starfish or one person at a time. If we can change one life or one starfish at a time together, we can change the world. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Angela.